Hey guys, this is Doug with Fellowship of the Martyrs. I am wanted to talk to you today about Jeremiah chapter 2. 2. Um, this kind of came to my attention because I was taking a look at the Hebrew calendar. We're in the 3 weeks of awe. Right now, this is July 25th. And the 3 weeks of awe, I've got a video about the 17th of Tammuz to the 9th of Av, this period of mourning and weeping and whatever. And so I'm especially attuned to the Hebrew calendar during this period, and I'm watching the Hebrew calendar. Today's Monday, but this coming Shabbat is the Sabbath reading is Jeremiah chapter 2. And I got to reading it, and I felt like it was something that I needed to convey to you guys. So, I don't want to read it out of their version entirely, and they leave out the last half of Jeremiah chapter 2. So, on the Hebcal website that I'm looking at, they quote from the JPS Tanakh, and they tend to leave out anything messianic. But I want to read from the ESV until verse 4, and then I'm going to flip over to the JPS Tanakh until they get to verse 28, and then I'll flip back over, okay? And we'll just do a little dialogue along the way talking about this. Jeremiah chapter 2. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Go and proclaim in the hearing of Jerusalem, Thus says the Lord. I remember the devotion of your youth, your love as a bride, how you followed me in the wilderness, in a land not sown. Israel was holy to the Lord, the firstfruits of his harvest. All who ate of it incurred guilt. Disaster came upon them, declares the Lord. Okay, now, one of the videos I talk about spirals, repeating applications, how we can see it's not just that this passage in Jeremiah or Hosea or whatever has application to Israel, but it also has application to me personally on the personal itty-bitty spiral. It has application to Israel when we're talking about 4 million leaving Egypt or whatever. It has application to Israel today. It has application to America today. It has application to the world. It has application to the bride and everybody that ever will read it, and so on and so on and so on. So it's really just a matter of putting on your filter and really seeking the Lord about, okay, how does this apply to the United States? Or how does this apply to the church in America? Or the false church in America, or whatever. You just take all of the talk that Jesus had about the Pharisees and you apply it to the religious fundamental leaders of the day now and see if it doesn't fit. Okay? One way that you know something is from the Lord is because it's like a diamond. You can turn it and you see the orange and the purple and the blue and the yellow and all the reflections of a prism, and they're all in harmony, but it all has different applications. It's living. Okay. Anyway, so here in verse 1, 2, and 3, I'm looking through the lens of current application to America and to the Church of America. Okay. I remember the devotion of your youth, your love as a bride, how you followed me in the wilderness in a land not sown. Okay, at the very beginning, the United States and Canada, North America, it was a land not sown. It was wild country. It was a wilderness. And God, I believe, gave the United States and Canada to the church as the promised land, the first place where the true church could have some freedom of religion without persecution. Now, I'm not talking about the Reformers. I'm not talking about the Protestant Reformation and the daughters of the Catholic Church. I'm talking about the remnant of the church that was always in the woods being persecuted by the Catholics, tracing all the way back to the apostles, and then was persecuted by the Lutherans and whatever. There were always people out in the woods that were called Waldensians or Anabaptists or one flavor or another that would basically qualify today. We would describe them as Spirit-filled charismatic Baptists, basically. And lot of the offshoots came from there. The Mennonites, Quakers, the Amish, the Anabaptists, all of them are not children of the Reformation, are not offspring of Luther. And I can't be convinced that they all are. They seem to entirely be from a different strand than the. Now some of them have drifted more and more toward clergy, governed papal kind of models. But anyway, how you followed me in the wilderness in a land not sown. Israel was holy to the Lord, the first fruits of his harvest. All who ate of it incurred guilt. Disaster came upon them, declares the Lord. So I think here's some promise of the manifest destiny and of the blessing on the United States and Canada. I really have seen and continue to have the Lord reinforce to me the application as far as spirals. And I'm not talking about replacement theology. Okay, I'm just talking about a different wavelength. You can play all the C's on the piano keyboard and then be true. And you may hear a middle C and I may hear a high C and somebody else may hear a low C, but they're all C's and they're all in unison. Okay? The problem is when we say, well, I heard a middle C. Well, I heard a high C. You're a heretic if you heard a middle C because it was a high C. I'm sure it was a high C. Okay, well, maybe that's just what's within the range of your hearing. I know people have burnt out the top end, can't hear violins, can't hear little kids talking because they've burnt out the top end of their hearing, and all they hear is the middle and the low end. That doesn't mean that C wasn't played. That just means you can't hear it. Okay? So I'm not talking about replacement theology. I'm talking about a different application, a different spiral where spiritual Israel, I believe, is the northern and southern kingdom of Canada and the United States. We see the same kind of process going back and forth as went with Israel and Judah. The two nations founded under God with freedom of religion. There's something special here. And these two countries have had the biggest impact and the biggest possible potential to spread Christianity all over the world, and I think have crucified Christ and done wrong more than any other nations in history. I think they have spit on the cross far more than the nation of Israel, for example, Judah and Israel, the land. Okay. Hear the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the clans of the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, what wrong did your fathers find in me that they went far from me, and went after worthlessness, and became worthless? That could be MTV, could be video games, could be chasing money, careers, yoga, whatever. But he says, what did I do wrong that you gave up on me and went chasing worthlessness? And they did not. They did not say, where is the Lord who brought us from the land of Egypt, who led us in the wilderness, in a land of deserts and pits, in a land of drought and deep darkness, in a land that none passes through, where no man dwells? Let me switch to the Tanakh. Sorry. So they didn't stop and go, hey, how come God's not here anymore? How come the Spirit left the building and we didn't even notice? Why shouldn't we be looking for him? He says, verse 7, I brought you to this country of farmland to enjoy its fruit and its bounty. But you came and defiled my land. You made my possession abhorrent. The priests never asked themselves, where is the Lord? The guardians of the teaching ignored me. The rulers rebelled against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal, and followed what can do no good. Oh, I will go on accusing you, declares the Lord. I'm not done yet. And I will accuse your children's children. Just cross over to the Isles of Kittim and look. Send to Kedar and observe carefully. See if aught like this has ever happened. Has any nation changed its gods, even though they are no gods? But my people has exchanged its glory for what can do no good. Be appalled, O heavens, at this. Be horrified, utterly dazed, declares the Lord. For my people have done a twofold wrong. They have forsaken me, the fount of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns, which cannot even hold water. Now, this particular passage the Lord has illustrated to me repeatedly as it relates to the cup model that I talk about, okay? That you need to be full. You need to be being filled of the Holy Spirit all the time. The problem is, mostly we look to man or seminaries or church services to fill our cups with gnosis, with knowledge, with information, with something, with a pep talk, with cool music that plays our heartstrings. Something other than being filled with the Spirit, being filled with the living water of God. He says they've done two things wrong. They neglected me, the fount of living waters, and they hewed for themselves. They cut cisterns. A cistern is not just a well. A cistern is a holding tank, a water tower, where you would store up lots of water so that when there's a drought or whatever, you'll have this water available. But they leak. And he says, you've instead of like manna, when they were in the desert, every day the manna would fall. They would have enough for that day. If they kept it overnight, it would rot. Maggots and stuff would grow. But every day he would take care of them again, every day, and fill their tummies, give them what they needed every day. The water and the manna every day was available. If he needed to have water burst out of a rock, he would do that. But they had to learn to trust in him. And if they tried to store it up and feel like, well, I don't want to have to do this tomorrow. I don't want to have to go get new manna tomorrow. I want to just accumulate it. Well, as soon as you accumulate it, somebody else hasn't accumulated it, then you have an opportunity for commerce. Then you can say, I got extra, what's it worth to you, so you don't have to go out today. And then you can hire people to go accumulate it so that some people can sit on their butt and do nothing, and other people can go accumulate it all and put it in barns, store it up, build wealth, and God says, that's not what I want. I want you to rely on me every day. I want you to get your cup full every day. And I want you to get your cup full from me, the living stream, the stream of living water, instead of trying to build a cistern where you think you could fill it with some kind of water. Maybe it's knowledge and worship music and whatever, but it's not going to work, and it's going to leak. It's not going to be available. So that runs us through verse 14. Hold on just a minute, and we'll keep rolling here. Okay, verse 14. Is Israel a bondman? Is he a homeborn slave? Then why is he given over to plunder? Lions have roared over him, have raised their cries. They have made his land a waste, his cities desolate without inhabitants. Okay, so the lion sometimes talks about Satan ranging like a lion, circling, seeking who he will devour. And when the Lord showed me a vision of the United States, in Canada, it's complete blackness. There was no lampstand, no city church under his headship in 2005. Now I believe it's better, but the Lord devastated the city churches. Those two in Knopf and Tampines will lay bare your head. See, that is the price you have paid for forsaking the Lord your God while he led you in the way. What then is the good of your going to Egypt to drink the waters of the Nile? What is the good of your going to Assyria to drink the waters of the Euphrates? Let your misfortune reprove you. Let your afflictions rebuke you. Mark well how bad and bitter it is that you forsake the Lord your God. That awe for me is not in you. There's no fear of the Lord. And he's saying, see what happens when there's no fear of the Lord? You'll run to every other country. You'll think everybody's stuff's better than yours. We want to be communist. We want to be socialist. We want to be French. We want to be anything other than what we are and what we were made to be, because this place stinks. Why does it stink? Because we ran from God. Declares the Lord, for long ago you broke your yoke, tore off your yoke bands, and said, I will not work. On every high hill and under every verdant tree you recline as a whore. I planted you with noble vines, all with choicest seed. Alas, I find you changed into a base and alien vine. You're like poison ivy now. You were something, and now you're just rotten. Though you wash with natron and use much lye, your guilt is ingrained before me. You can't scrub it off. There's nothing you can do to get clean enough. There's nothing you can do to scrub the guilt off, declares the Lord. For how can you say, I'm not defiled, I have not gone after the Balaam? Look at your deeds in the valley. Consider what you have done, like a lustful she-camel restlessly running about, or like a wild ass used to the desert, sniffing the wind in her eagerness, whose passion none can restrain. When she's in heat, you can't hold her down. You can't tie her down. She will break loose and go find something. None that seek her need grow weary. In her season, they'll find her. She will come find you. Just stand still. She's in heat so bad, she'll come find somebody. Oy. Save your foot from going bare and your throat from thirst. But you say, it's no use. No, I love the strangers, and after them I must go. Like a thief chagrined when he is caught, so is the house of Israel chagrined. They, their kings, their officers, and their priests and prophets. They said to wood, you are my father. To stone, you gave birth to me. While to me they turn their backs and not their faces. And in their hour of calamity they cry, arise and save us, O God. And where are those gods you made for yourself? Let them arise and save you if they can, in your hour of calamity. For your gods have become, O Judah, as many as your towns. What kind of gods could the Church of America have created? Well, there's purpose-driven God, there's church growth God, there's church planting God, there's organic church, cell church, all kinds of, let me close the window here, all kinds of different gods that we've created and we've put our trust in, marketing consultants, direct mail, billboards, all kinds of things, great big statues of touchdown Jesus that God hits with lightning because he hates them so bad, and we don't even get that he doesn't like it. Verse 29, now I'm going to switch back to the ESV. Why do you contend with me? Wait, let me go back. One of the things he says is, you have so many gods, so many different things that you're worshiping, that the number of your gods is as many as the number of your towns. Every little principality, every little municipality has its own god. And you're supposed to have one. We have over 41,000 denominations now in Christianity. You know how many municipalities there are in the United States? 33,000, give or take. The number of our gods has exceeded the number of our towns. Verse 29, why do you contend with me? You have all transgressed against me, declares the Lord. In vain have I struck your children, they took no correction. Your own sword devoured your prophets like a ravening lion. And you, O generation, behold the word of the Lord. Have I been a wilderness to Israel, or a land of thick darkness? Was I really that bad to you? Why then do my people say, we are free, we will come no more to you? We don't have to go to the temple, we don't have to make the sacrifices, we can do whatever we want. Can a virgin forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without number. How well you direct your course to seek love, so that even to wicked women you have taught your ways. Also on your skirts is found the lifeblood of the guiltless poor. You did not find them breaking in, yet in spite of all these things you say, I'm innocent. Surely his anger has turned against me. Behold, I will bring you to judgment for saying, I have not sinned. How much you go about changing your way. You shall be put to shame by Egypt, as you were put to shame by Assyria. For it too you will come away with your hands on your head, for the Lord has rejected those in whom you trust, and you will not prosper by them. Let's talk about this. On your skirts is found the lifeblood of the guiltless poor. Revelation 18, one of the curses, one of the things there that it says, let me open another ESV here in my window. At the very end of Revelation 18, it talks about the fall of Babylon. Just a second. Yeah, Romans 18:11 through 13. The merchants of the earth weep and mourn for her, since no one buys their cargo anymore. Cargo of gold, silver, jewels, pearls, fine linen, purple cloth, silk, scarlet cloth, all kinds of scented wood, all kinds of articles of ivory, all kinds of articles of costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble, cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh, frankincense, wine, oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle, and sheep, horses and chariots and slaves, that is, human souls. So it runs down this whole list. And then it says, and slaves. That is human souls. The and slaves isn't the human souls that it's talking about. All that stuff is the human souls. It covers clothing, it covers decor items, it covers perfume, food, animals, vehicles, everything there that Babylon is importing at the expense of human souls. Then, and then we see in Jeremiah 2 where he says your skirts, your clothing is covered with the blood of the guiltless poor. Perhaps you don't understand that in order to buy that $5 skirt at Walmart, it required slave labor. It required somebody working for a nickel a day. You didn't know that? How could you not know that? How could you? Wouldn't it be just like Satan? When you go into the Christian bookstore and you buy some little nicky-nacky Jesus junk little $2 cross necklace that's made in China? Wouldn't it be just like Satan to have house church pastors that are thrown into prison having to work 18 hours a day, stamping out these little cheesy crosses so that you can buy them for a nickel or whatever, and they're going to get one little thing of bread for dinner if they work for 16 hours making these things? Wouldn't that be just like Satan? This is what we're talking about. Our clothing is covered with the blood of guiltless, innocent poor. We didn't find them breaking into our house. Our blood is not covered because they broke into our house and were aiming to hurt us. We took advantage. And then we claim that we are innocent, that it's not our fault. God will fight for the poor. Anyway, that's it for Jeremiah 2. Lots more scary stuff in there. Just ask the Lord to show you, how does this apply to the Church of America? And then you'll probably cry a lot. I know I do. God bless you. Love you. More later. Lots more at fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. If you want to email to fotm@fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. If you want to PayPal and help what we're doing here, you can send it to PayPal to fotm@fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. Thanks very much. God bless.